I'm Nate, a certified somatic counselor and psychedelic integration guide. You know, sometimes it can feel like so much is in our way. Pain, fear, loss, trauma. It can feel impossible to live the life our hearts know we're here to live. But what I've learned is that what's in the way is the way. That when we can fully feel, rather than fight, our emotions, our sensations, even our pain, even our fear, that we will heal. I believe that there's a natural healing intelligence inside our bodies, just waiting to be unlocked. But here's the thing, we can't do it alone. We need help to open the door, to trust that it's safe, to stay with it, little by little, especially when it gets hard. That's where I come in. Using my training, my heart, and my faith in the greater presence of love to help us turn what seems to be in the way into a doorway to freedom and joy. You know, surprising as it might sound, my approach to healing can be lighthearted, even a lot of fun. I've been on my own healing journey. I'm still on it. I'm not here to tell you that I'm enlightened or found a silver bullet, just that I can walk with you and help you discover your path to a life lived in peace. So if you're curious about working with me, you can book a free introductory session on my website to get to know me. So in 2017, I had moved to Minneapolis for a job that I was really excited about. I was going to feel fulfilled from the money, from the prestige, from the creative work, and it just was not going that way. I was there and I was feeling lonely and cold, and I was working all the time. I got really sick. I didn't know this at the time, but I had developed a mold toxicity, mold-related illness from a previous place we lived. I remember sitting in that house alone one day and just like this feeling I had never felt before. It's almost like in a horror movie when it feels like everything's closing in on the character, like all this, like it's all about to go really wrong. And it's just this dread, this very heavy feeling. And I remember seeing a therapist who said, "Hey, Nate, you're depressed. I mean, you're suffering from major depressive disorder." It made me question everything that I had assumed about what I was doing with my life, because I'd reached this pinnacle of where I thought I was going, what I was working towards all these years. And not only was I not really thriving, I was actually falling apart. The only playbook I had was be more successful, make more money, then eventually I will feel better, and then it will be okay. There was a day, I remember pretty well, where I kind of just gave up. I gave up on the script. I gave up on the belief. And I remember going out, we lived by the Mississippi River, and I went out from the house on my own. I was very distraught. I was just crying. It's funny, now it's obvious to me that this was a form of prayer, but at the time, I was just asking for help. Can somebody help? Like, what do I do? Like, I really don't know what to do. I'm really at the end of my rope. Somehow, as I broke down and just asked for guidance again and again, at some point I did hear some phrase or something just came to me, and it was, "You're here to use your body." And I was actually pretty unhappy with this message, because I just was like, what are you talking about? Because I've been raised in a culture that so emphasized the intellect that I just didn't really have a relationship with my intuition, with my felt sense, with like, how do I come out from here and take the escalator down into, oh, I am a whole being. I got referred to a somatic practitioner, somebody which I didn't even really know what it meant. And I remember seeing her, and she had me do these things that no therapist had ever had me do, like, well, look around the room, or like lie on the ground, or move in different ways. Tell me what it's like for you to be here with me right now in this moment. I remember like emotions came up and sensations. I left that session feeling like I kind of woke up a little bit, like something new was happening. It was very kind of exciting. Like maybe there would be hope for me. I mean, I was super depressed in the session, but some of the things that she was doing were exciting to me. They were, I was like, you can do that in therapy. You can like get up and move around. You could like lie down. You could do role plays. And I think that was, after that session, I kind of was like, well, maybe that's what I'm here to do with my body. And then I just felt like, well, I just need to go somewhere where they could teach me about this, you know, and where would that be? And I learned about the California Institute for Integral Studies, where they teach alternative approaches to therapy, basically. You know, I was very fearful at the time, and it was a huge, scary decision to change careers. And so I really wanted to research it. So I asked the school if I could talk to alumni. I'm on the phone with one of them, and she says, yeah, I do psychotherapy and it's good. Some of my clients, I use this other modality that I learned about. It's called Hakomi. And it feels like meditating with my client. When I finish a session, I feel like we both meditated. Like that's what it feels like in my body. I feel grounded. As the therapist, I feel soothed, I feel grounded, I feel more energized. And I was like, that's not how anybody else is really talking to me about therapy. I was like, well, I want that. That I would do. If I could do something with people that actually was enlivening to me, you know, that was so present-based and actually felt like a meditation, I want to do that. So then I said, okay, what is this Hakomi thing? You know, and I started researching it, and every single thing I read about it, as soon as I read about it, it was one of those kind of like love at first sight things that you just wish for. And then I flew to California to do an introductory session, just to learn about it. I remember it was really one of those like before and after moments in life, a moment that I'll always remember. I was in that class, and the teacher, he said, well, Hakomi, if you kind of boil it down, it's teaching the skill of being able to look at any person, to sit across from any person at any moment and feel towards them the way you would feel if you were looking at a sunrise. And I decided to, instead of going to traditional graduate school, which I was accepted to and was going to start, Hakomi also had this comprehensive training program, 2 years, really in-depth program, where it's a whole holistic approach to healing work with people. So I started my training in Hakomi, and it was going really, really well. I mean, I loved the practice. I enjoyed being with the other students. It was intellectually exciting. I was learning so much. And I also was, I was still really scared and struggling. I needed to fall apart, and I did not know how. I needed to fall apart because falling apart is actually the only way to heal. That is the path. It's, you know, you let go so that you can be put together again anew. I flew to New York to work with somebody who was a very novice psychedelic assisted therapy practitioner. He was just kind of trying it out and being kind of a sitter. He would just sit with you while you took MDMA. It was a very powerful experience. As soon as it started to come on, I immediately was put in this memory that I had never recalled before of being with my mom in a park when I was about 5, 6 years old. And my mom and I, because they ran a school, they ran a very successful school, they were very, very busy. We were walking by this river, just like skipping stones. It was like a really innocent, fun day. And there was a lot of joy and just peace, like feeling safe, feeling really safe. And then there was suddenly this siren, and in the distance there was smoke that was coming up from the school. The school had caught on fire, and the entire school ended up needing to be shut down. What it showed me was that, I need to be vigilant. I can't let my guard down. I need to be in control. I need to be on top of it, because if I get too relaxed, if I feel too safe, something bad is going to happen. And now I know as a practitioner that is an archetypal experience, especially in our culture. And then in that experience, it was sort of like, oh no, here's how you became really chronically anxious. I came down and I wasn't high anymore. I wasn't in the medicine anymore. And I was like, well, okay, so great. So it's possible, but like, now what? So I had this very helpful experience and then got home and was like, oh my God, I'm like now even more tired and stressed out. How could you do that work in a way that would help people really heal over time and integrate those experiences into their personalities in a safe way, in a supportive way? So these days, people are doing more and more psychedelic work that could be recreationally with their friends, that could be with a therapist or guide. Those experiences can bring up a lot. The integration, or how do you process what it is, the gifts that it's giving you or the challenges that you experienced, that is as if not more important. I can't stress this enough. As if not more important than what happens in the psychedelic experience itself. If it's not integrated or kind of contained, processed, it can actually be destabilizing. It can actually cause real harm. So it's really important to sort of have, and sometimes over a longer period of time, somebody to help you kind of benefit from and learn from and integrate, essentially bring into your day-to-day life, because that's where you live. You don't live in a mushroom journey. You live in a day-to-day normal consciousness. So how do you integrate that experience into that in a way that actually serves you? In addition to Hakomi, I became really immersed in a modality called relational somatic healing. And one of the basic concepts of it is that the way you show up with me is probably the way you show up with most people. So the way I'm experiencing being with you is probably related to the way other people are experiencing being with you, which is probably related to your childhood and to other things. And in that modality, though, we really use that relational experience as in, what am I feeling being with you that I can share with you that other people might not share with you? The most healing thing of relational mindfulness is that we're both humans and that I give a shit about you. Not just because I'm telling you that, but because I'm letting myself feel with you. I was in a training session one day, and another student was sitting with me, and she was just really patiently kind of looking at me in this very loving way. And I remember this tear just started coming down from her eye, down her cheek. I mean, I was telling her about, how the pain I was in. I mean, quietly, but I was telling her about what it was like to go through the chronic pain, loneliness, and she just started to cry. I feel like almost for the first time, I got to fall apart because I knew that somebody was there who would not be overwhelmed by my feeling, who would not try to solve it, who would not make it a problem. And that really shifted something. I mean, I just remember like, oh, maybe I don't have to do this all alone. Maybe somebody actually could really help me, like truly. That became and still is the foundation of my work. I can help anybody who feels a gap between the life that they're living and a sense of the life that on some level they know they're here to live. That could be that they don't feel fulfillment in their work, that they don't feel satisfied in their relationships, or even just that they can imagine a level of creativity or expression that is missing right now. I think everybody has some feeling, if they really search in themselves and are honest, about when I get to the end of my life and I'm living this life right now, if tomorrow was the last day of my life, how would I feel about how I spent it? And if there is something in the way of feeling really good and peaceful about the choices that you've made, about the way you've used your time in this incarnation, with your family, with your friends, with yourself, with your work, then I can help.